I, 29F, dated a guy Joe, 30M, for 3 months before he left me to go back to his ex Kim, 30F. Right after we broke up I found out I was pregnant and now I'm at 24 weeks. I let him know and he was ecstatic. Turns out his girlfriend had fertility issues and would likely never be able to get pregnant naturally, and he has always wanted to be a father. Getting back together was out of the question for both of us, so he's still with his girlfriend. Joe was only allowed at the initial appointment because of COVID-19, and we found out I was having twins. According to Joe, when he told Kim, she had a mental breakdown about her infertility and wanted to talk to me. I met them at their house and Kim stated that she wanted to be involved in my pregnancy because she would eventually be the children's stepmother. She started telling me that I needed to do a home birth, that I needed to formula feed so that they could have the babies half of the week, that she wanted 1 boy and 1 girl, and that she wanted the kid to call her mama since they would be calling me mommy. I shut her down and said I would make the best choices for my children and my body and left. Kim continued to be overbearing and texting me every day about my eating habits, exercise habits, and ing about how her job wouldn't let her take maternity leave. At the virtual genetics counseling appointment, she attended instead of Joe and took over the whole meeting trying to talk about her family history, which wasn't relevant. When it came time for my 20-week level 2 scan, they allowed me 1 guest and Joe suggested I take Kim instead of him, which I refused to do. Joe did end up coming and he found out the gender because I wanted to keep it a surprise for me so we could throw a gender reveal party. I put a pregnancy announcement on my social media and then she put up an announcement saying they were expecting twins, the non-traditional way, and how blessed she was. I was irritated but I kept my mouth shut. Then she threw a gender reveal party and posted it on social media. I wasn't even invited. She also announced that she's having a baby shower. I commented on her posts and told her to stop treating me like a surrogate, that the kids weren't hers, and that Joe didn't have any claim or custody of the kids until they are born. I then called Joe and reiterated all of this and stated that I would not be seeing either of them until we went to family court, and that my mother would be my birthing partner. He and Kim and some of her friends and family are saying I'm an asshole, and her mother even called and insisted I give her one of my babies. Like, this is the Parent Trap? I'm definitely getting a lawyer ASAP. Y'all have scared the shit out of me, but I'm happy you did. We used condoms because I do not react well to hormonal birth control, and I had to wait to get a non-hormonal IUD because of other medical issues. The Thursday I posted this, I went to the police and they stated that there was nothing they could do because a crime hadn't been committed. In my state, orders of protection are criminal or family, so I was able to get one against Joe. On Friday, I did get a lawyer and they let me know in my state there was nothing I could do as far as custody before the babies are born. So I will be leaving my state soon to ensure that this isn't my baby's home state and I can't be charged with anything. Kim came to my job, damaged my car, and broke a bunch of office windows. I work with kids, so she was arrested for not just the criminal damage and trespassing but also child endangerment, so hopefully that works in my favor. Also, if Joe did it on purpose, I don't think Kim knew, because she was screaming at me about how I stole her life and everything I had was supposed to be hers. I have orders of protection against both Kim and Joe. I left the state anyway and Joe and Kim started harassing me again because there's no legal jurisdiction when you leave the state. But I have enough evidence that I was able to press charges in my current state as well and will be pursuing a restraining order here. My brother-in-law has always been a bit of a ruckus. Just a very jolly guy, used to be a hard-partied when I first knew him but not so much now. I mean, he still likes to drink and he smokes weed, but nothing compared to how he used to be. He stays in the basement apartment, which is a full apartment, separate from ours, with a kitchen and bathroom etc. In our house ever since he lost his apartment. He has never really been able to keep a good job, no college education, and also ADHD. And we live in NYC, so affording rent is impossibly hard lately. This was supposed to be a temporary thing for him, out of desperation because he lost his apartment. I should say that he has gone through multiple phases of depression from just living hard much of his life. I remember seeing him when he was in his 20s and he was just a damn mess. Living in shit apartments and working shit jobs, and I remember he was super depressed, like, you know, that kind of depressed. for a bit around a decade ago because of how awful his life was. And it was awful. I won't sugarcoat it. He was getting mugged in his area constantly. His apartment was horribly small and he worked horribly long hours. His ex-wife was awful to him and cheated on him. But in the past 2 months that he has been here, he's been an absolute joy. To both me and my wife and also our kids. We all love him so much. He clearly loves the basement, it's even bigger than his old apartment, and just in general it's in a much better location. He has said, multiple times, how much he loves it at our place. He also is just a great guy to have around. He is a blast with our kids and he always cooks food for us and is just a general great, funny, charismatic guy. He got a new job, working 60 hours a week at a shit job. And now he wants to move out to his friend's place all the way in Coney Island where he would be spending half of his paycheck on rent. At first, we were like, okay, well, this was our agreement, he was eventually gonna leave. But then we kinda had a family meeting and realized, hey, we want him here. I don't even care if he pays nothing in rent, he's great to have around. Just to be clear though, we did tell him he would have to pay something a month, a number we haven't decided yet. When we told him this, he kind of thought it was a joke, but then he agreed. He was very happy about it, and we were too, and we were kind of thinking like, he's a member of our house now, you know? But then he changed his mind suddenly, and was saying how he doesn't want to be a freeloader and that he thinks we are just allowing him to stay because we feel bad for him. He really will not listen to us at all when we say that we actually want him to stay. Even our kids, teens, have tried getting him to stay and he just won't accept it. Every time we bring it up to him he sort of does this pity thing where he's like, come on, I know you think I'm a loser. I'm not gonna mooch off of you guys or something along those lines. It's been around 2 weeks, and he just kind of feels bad about it. It is absolutely a pride thing for him. He technically plans on moving out in the next few weeks. But we really want him to stay. And we know that he would love to stay. I feel like there is really no chance this is some kind of deep down he hates it here kind of situation. This is 100% a pride thing for him. Since we met, my boyfriend has been on and off of Tinder. I've been very clear that it hurts me, but he always defended it as just him wanting an ego boost. A few months ago we had a major argument about it where I threatened to leave and I honestly thought that was going to be the end of it. Pretty naive, really. Also, I should note his ex before me left him for this very reason. I feel like an idiot for thinking he'd ever change. Today I woke up and realized he'd been using my phone and his email was logged in. I noticed he'd gotten an email from an app called Hinge. Just to give you an idea of the kind of app this is, the description read, the app that was designed to be deleted. Great. My stomach instantly dropped. I logged into it with his phone number and he's put up profile pictures of him that I've taken when we've been on days out together. In his description he's got things like, we'll get along if you like Chinese and have a dog. If you're silly and comfortable and overshare. He's also put in as a strict preference that he wants to be matched with Hindus / Muslims only. I'm white British. I knew something was going on yesterday but wasn't sure what. He was acting differently and it was making me so anxious. He had the nerve to tell me that I must just be hormonal? I think the worst part about it is his reaction to all of this. He heard me crying, acted concerned and then saw me with his phone. At which point he just took it from me and went back to bed. That was about an hour ago and the only interaction I've had with him since was him asking me to open the bathroom door. Not to see if I was okay, but because he needed to pee. I'm obviously hurt by the fact that he's on this thing, but I think I'm more shocked by his total lack of guilt or response to me being upset. I'm so angry and there's nothing I can do with it. I'm so embarrassed about the situation I don't want to tell my family / friends how he's treated me. And I can't even talk to him about it because he's refusing to address anything's wrong. He's still in bed. I don't know what to do. He's brought my self-esteem down so much that I feel like I can't be without him, but I know I can't stay in this situation. Should I even bother trying to talk to him or should I just leave? I've taken screenshots of everything and initially I was going to send them to his family but thought against it. The thing is, if I just leave there's literally zero consequences for him. He gets what he wants. He gets the freedom to go on random dates with no guilt. It just seems so Unfair that I'm the one left heartbroken and he gets to party up. I got myself and my stuff together, packed it in my car and left. It felt impossible. There was a lot of stuff and I was a wreck, but I managed it in the end. Throughout the whole time, he was just in bed pretending to sleep, which made me angry more than anything. I felt like he couldn't care less. We'd been living together for 2 years, but fortunately, in September I decided to get my own student apartment. Obviously, I knew then that things weren't going well, and thank God I made that decision because now I have a place to stay. Whilst I was sat on the driveway in my car ready to leave, I got a text from him saying, "I'm not going to insult you by asking you to stay or to come back, but could you please leave the keys to the house?" I had already left them, but that last dig at me made me so mad and hurt. No apology, no
goodbye.
Just leave the keys. I guess that's my closure. I'm sad that this shit show of a relationship has come to an end, angry that it happened the way it did, but funnily enough, I'm relieved. I can do what I want now and get on top of my self-esteem issues. I'm driving down to see my mom and the rest of the family tomorrow. I haven't seen them since Christmas and I absolutely cannot wait. The anger's still there, but I'm just going to get on with things. I absolutely cannot waste any more energy on that guy. I am currently divorced from my ex Thomas of 30 years. We ended up seeing a lawyer to help with dividing stuff. Everything was pretty much wrapped up till he said he no longer wanted any part of our kids' lives. I didn't argue with him about it since I already know what it's like having a parent who doesn't want you around, or wants to be in your life. I asked what he wanted me to tell the kids and he just said, "Whatever you think is best, I don't care. I don't want to parent anymore." Everything was in agreement and signed with no fuss. A few weeks later I get a call from my ex-mill asking if we could meet each other. When I came over she broke down crying and begging to let my ex see his kids again. I was confused about what she meant because not once did he contact me after meeting the lawyer. She went on about how my ex said he really missed them and that I was just a petty B*TCH for taking full custody. Also that he was crying for days about it. I told her my version of events and she called it BS, saying her son wouldn't lie like that, especially not about his kids. Then I decided to call him in front of her. He didn't know she and I were meeting that day. I said, "Hey, has a soccer game in a few days," which he did, and I was wondering if you wanted to go? I know he'd really love it and be happy to see you. He instantly said no. I already said I'm not doing this anymore. I asked, "Well, how do you think this is going to affect Denise, his mom?" She is over the moon about them. He just said she loves me more than the kids, so I doubt this will be an issue for her. After a bit more talking we finally hung up. Ex-Mill was straight-faced and nodded at everything that just happened. She asked me to leave and said we would be in touch. Later that day I got a call from my ex saying how it's my fault he was kicked out of his mom's house, and possibly will be taken off her will. Also that none of his family members will talk to him because of what ex-Mill heard. He threw a lot of insults at me before I hung up, and now him and his mates keep calling and texting me. My friend is saying I shouldn't have said anything in the first place and I ruined his life. Yes, I plan to let Denise see the kids because I know she just wants to give them the world along with the rest of his family.